So I had originally planned to talk about the Usos being down since day one-ish on their 2017. However, with the reveal of Wrestle Kingdom and to the fact that Axe TV would be airing a part of the Wrestle Kingdom 12 show, and add to the fact that they were some of the matches I wanted to actually see, because a lot of these people were saying that these were the top matches in a show that was apparently doing so great that there is no way you can make one bad moment in the show. Hell, even the pre-show, even though people somewhat found it alright, they were like, oh, well, that was given over 30 minutes. WWE rarely ever accommodates to actually making a long match. The last time we got a long match was with The New Day and the Usos on the kickoff, and people still bitch about that, because, well, understandably so, because that should have been on the show. But no, they're relegated to pre-show for some reason. So, yeah, and then I was originally going to do the 4 matches, but then there was a 5th match I wanted to talk about, and plus because the picture I had found was too awesome to ignore, so I decided to involve the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship match, and it also has a little bit of historical significance, which will also sum up why WWE sucks at making a 205 division. So this will be my first attempt to talk about a New Japan Pro Wrestling match, or a show, or at least parts of a show, because I don't think I could watch 5 hours. Like, if you add the 6 hour being the kickoff pretty much, and that's the fact I've already have enough strenuous timing dealing with WWE show, like, I probably would watch Wrestle Kingdom 12 and get a much better, reaction. But yeah, I don't have New Japan Pro Wrestling World, and I've been hearing there are a lot of technical issues of it, and plus I keep trying to fix the language system, and plus I do not understand Japanese, and even if I try to subscribe on there, I probably would rarely use it, so whereas I use WWE for a lot of things. But nonetheless, yeah, so this will be my attempt to try and pronounce certain wrestlers' names, and I don't want to risk degrading anybody, unlike something that happened just recently, and I will not want to get into it because it's too controversial, and plus YouTube will remove the video for a variety of reasons because they like the guy, and that's following that other video he had uploaded and deleted, and it was revealed that he did things in Japan that were really, 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 really fucked up and insulting. So, I would like to say first and foremost, I will try to get their names right. At least the ones I can't pronounce. I'm pretty sure I'll screw up on several occasions until my mind eventually gets used to it. Heck, it took me a year to get Kazuchika Okada's name right, after repeatedly hearing it because of the Kenny Omega Kazuchika Okada trilogy that happened. So yeah, this is going to be interesting. Let's get to what aired on, which was the first match airing on Access TV, New Japan Pro Wrestling. So, Kota Ibushi versus Cody with his darling wife Brandy Rhodes, and this storyline, and we got promo videos from Access TV that helped flesh out some stuff that I wanted to know about, but here's what I was looking up on when I was looking at the overall build-ups to the show. It turns out this feud would technically start at Power Struggle, where Cody confronted Kota Ibushi after he had been defeated by Tanahashi in the main event, offering to defend the Ring of Honor World Championship against him at Wrestle Kingdom 12. Initially announced the following day as a potential title match, which was one plan they were going to do apparently, but they decided to do something a little different. Cody loses the title. Instead, it became a non-title special singles match, and then when Cody lost the title to Dalton Castle at Ring of Honor's Final Battle in December, it just became a standard matchup. So, yeah, that was interesting. Like, I would say in WWE, John Cena and The Rock were hinting that they would probably do a WWE Championship match at WrestleMania 28. I would count that, but at the same time, no, because they eventually did get that match in what I call bullshit false advertisement promises that WWE kept marketing in the legendary Twice in a Lifetime And it was basically the same match last year, except it had an alternative ending to it, which is possibly the worst match you could probably make in wrestling. At least how I see it. So, yeah. Okay. So, since Cody lost the title, and let me get into it, Cody has had a successful run outside WWE. Hooray! However, he doesn't go with Cody Rhodes. He just calls himself Cody, while his rival goes with Brandy Rhodes, which I think is actually her real name, except it's Brandy Reynolds. But they're honoring Dusty Rhodes, so I'm not going to complain. So, anyways, after that, and prior to the best in the world at what he does announcement, Kota Ibushi had been seen as a possible opponent for Kenny Omega at the show, since the two former tag team partners had been having teasing a match against each other since Ibushi's return back in June of 2017. And in the build-up to the match, Cody, Omega's Bullet Club stablemate, compared Ibushi to Brutus Beefcake and Omega to Hulk Hogan, claiming that Ibushi was nothing more than a sidekick to their team. Which I was like, how dare you! You can't say that! I mean, like, I'm not discounting Brutus Beefcake. I'm like, I don't, like, okay, so you're going to compare Kenny Omega, who had not one, not two, but I think a third 6-star levels matches, quality bouts, according to Dave Meltzer, in a successful trilogy, to arguably the most arrogant asshole in wrestling businesses, who destroyed AWA, causing the mass exodus and not fulfill his obligations, who also bankrupted WCW because he was refusing to put people over unless it amused him, and even then he'll still bitch and moan about it. And the guy who made racist comments, which doesn't surprise me, which is why I was not deeply affected like a lot of people kept saying they were. And the part where he goes in and calls a bunch of people who are suffering in Florida after the hurricanes a bunch of crybabies because they don't have power, even though he's not being exactly descriptive of what he meant by that, he's being extremely vague as possible, and that only gives him further controversy and further issues. So, yeah, I'm like, yeah, that is the biggest. So I'm pretty sure if they ever did a storyline where Kenny Omega felt insulted that Cody did that, I would actually be alright with that. So yeah, so Cody and Kota Ibushi have their match, and Cody, I've also had learned, was doing this Ring of Honor gimmick where, since he's in Ring of Honor, he wears a literal ring, calling it the Ring of Honor, and he constantly kisses it as if some ceremonial, arrogant old jackass. And also, when I first heard that he had bleached his hair blonde, I was like, okay. I'm used to him having his standard black hair, but okay. So, yeah. And he also had a tattoo on his chest saying Dream in honor of Dusty Rhodes, the American Dream. Hi, what a time when it was to be proud of saying the American Dream instead of how things are right now in the world. But moving on from political stuff and potential destruction, if something like that to happen, hopefully not. So, Cody goes ahead and fights off with Kota Ibushi and shows him that, oh man, Cody and Brandy Rhodes, they made their entrance, and Brandy was like insulting the marks on the internet. Yeah. Oh man. And here's the thing, I'm surprised not a lot of people found offended by that, mostly because if Vince and Triple H suddenly did it, it's the end of the world, and therefore they'll attack them. But if a wrestler outside WWE did it, who also could say have a legitimate gripe with marks, that perfectly alright because he's not in WWE. Hell, I mean, like, remember Chris Jericho? Everyone loved that guy, but the second he said he liked Roman Reigns, everyone was all, bullshit! You're being paid by the company! By those corporate stooges! Those sons of bitches are using you! Even though Jericho doesn't really need the money for any logistical reason other than just, he would just need the money in an idealist sense. But that's beside the point. Cody and Kota Ibushi had an awesome matchup. It was just simply awesome. And then I think about it, Kota Ibushi was put in the Cruiserweight Classic. The only reason that tournament happened and the whole center around the whole thing was because they wanted to get Zack Sabre Jr. and Kota Ibushi on WWE. The rest of the guys were just added bonuses. However, since both guys did not want involved, and I can't imagine why, they said no, and WWE had to change plans. And I'm pretty sure Vince will look at the Cruiserweight Classics and deem it a failure because they couldn't get the two top guys that were supposed to be in the finals. Oh, by the way, speaking of the Cruiserweight Classic, if anyone has not heard this yet, I was recently notified about this like a week or so ago by a fellow Twitter user that Vince and WWE has dropped the trademark to the term Cruiserweight Classic. Even though they had said that this would be an annual or somewhat annual event. Biannual at best. Yeah, so basically they're saying, yeah, fuck it, it's done. So, nice to know WWE has their priorities straight, and I'm pretty sure Triple H is not trying to blow a gasket with Vince and sucker punch him in the face. But that's a different matter. And here's the thing. And I really do miss Cody when he was wrestling. Like I said, I rarely ever watch the outside company shows. Like, the only thing that was keeping me at least bit interested in TNA was the Broken gimmick. Now that they're gone and back in WWE, there's no point now. And occasionally I would watch the other shows like Japan and Ring of Honor from time to time. But that's mostly because when there's something very, very interesting to me, like the Young Bucks or a little bit of the Age of the Fall gimmick, if I can find videos of them. Because that gimmick is freaking awesome. And plus, it's also my way of saying F you to Vince, other than me ranting about him. So, yeah, it was nice seeing Cody again. And I heard Stephen Amell join the Bullet Club, where Cody's also involved in. And Cody is also on Arrow, playing a role of a villain, I think. Yeah, it's like they're destined to eventually have a one-on-one match. They have to do it at this point. So, yeah. So, Brandy Rhodes can play, like, Kota Ibushi, knowing the position where Cody and his wife were at, had to have known he'd make the fault landing on her. And then he goes into this noble state where, no, what have I done? I'm like, that's better than what Bryan did when, you know, he did the suicide dive on Triple H and crashed into Stephanie and the referee at WrestleMania 30. Yeah, he did not at least give one shit at the fact that he hit a woman inadvertently. So, yeah, that happened. And here's the thing. I loved the way that Cody and her smiled at each other all crazy like, yeah, we have him in the palm of our hands mentality. Like, that was actually kind of funny. And Kota eventually takes a disaster kick for a 2 count before trapping him in a butterfly lock. However, that fails. And when they get outside of the ring, Brandy wanders into commentary to steal a steel chair, which Cody uses on Kota Ibushi for several moments, and Brandy distracts the referee, causing Cody to get 2 shots in. And the referee saw the second shot. I saw the match. I swore I saw the referee look. Like, he saw Cody use the chair the second time. So he was giving leverage like, okay, we need this to go really well. So I'm giving you a little opening of a window here. So, yeah, and sure enough, Kota manages to escape when Cody tries to bash his head in with the chair and responds with a perfect golden triangle moonsault. That fails miserably in the end. However, they try to reenact, like, some person kept saying they were trying to somewhat reenact the Ultimate Warrior Rick Rude finish, but unfortunately for Kota Ibushi, Mrs. Rhodes went ahead and saved the day. And then he attempts to pile drive Cody off on the apron. However, Cody does honestly the best moment in the match. he goes ahead and does a crossroads off the apron to the floor. And when I saw that, I did something that not even WWE has gotten me to do, unless it was really, 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 really fucked up bad. It made me cringe. Like, ooh, that's gotta hurt. And not like I know this is scripted and whatnot, and I know Japan takes it much more seriously with their style. But when WWE makes me cringe, it's usually the bad kind of cringe. But when Cody did that crossroads off the apron to the floor, that was like, oh, that had got to hurt. And if I'm correct, that's solid concrete. So with a thinner pad than WWE operates with, yeah, that had to really, really freaking hurt. So, yeah, Kota somehow beats the count, but he's barely able to get to his feet as Cody borrows some more offense, and yeah, and he tries to do one more crossroads, however that fails miserably. And then he leads to this more barrage of strikes, back and forth type match, like they kept going fast paced with this. And let's be honest, this match is freaking awesome. And yeah, Cody had the best moment when he tried to basically attempt murder while he's smashing someone's back and neck into concrete with the crossroads off the apron. Yep. We're doing that. But yeah, the Japanese stiff style that they always operate with, that's actually pretty awesome. I want something different with this. And I'll give something that should honestly be the ultimate compliment I could probably give to New Japan Pro Wrestling, considering the rest of the match, the rest of the card looks awesome, and not one bad match in this 5-hour show. 5-hour show, and they managed to make, and every review either gave it, at worst, the worst review person gave, any reviewer gave it the worst match of the night, was only given a 3-star system, based on the 5 to 0 star system. The worst of the matches, one of them only got 3 stars, or a C. If only that match at worst got a C or a 3-star, while the rest of the show is better, then I'm going to be honest, Vince probably looks at this and says, I don't get it. So, yeah, so, like, if that's possible that they can make high-quality, long-term matches, and this match was long, like, about 15 minutes. Yeah, this was, like, 15 minutes and 8 seconds. So, yeah, and also kind of cool is that they also give the time of how long the match was. Like, there's a counter somewhere, and they go ahead and do it. I actually thought it was pretty awesome. So, yeah, Cody ultimately loses this match, but really, we all win in the end. Like, yeah, Kota Ibushi gets the victory, and yeah. And people were saying this was Cody's best match in a New Japan ring. Yeah, I could see that, but like I said, I hardly watch the outside WWE shows or outside TNA shows. But since TNA's no longer with the Hardys, there's no point with TNA now. So yeah. So moving on to that, we get to the Fatal 4-Way match for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship, which is essentially WWE, the Cruiserweight title of WWE, except there's a bigger difference regarding how WWE does it and how Japan does it. So, here's the thing. The IWGP title, Junior Heavyweight Championship, I had looked this up. The title was established back in 1986 on February 6th, if you're asking for the date on those. But here's the thing I found out, and this will be shocking. Marty Scurll, Will Ospreay, Kushida, and Hiromu Takahashi were in a Fatal 4-Way match. This was the first ever Fatal 4-Way match for the Junior Heavyweight Championship. What? You mean to tell me that over 20 years that title's existed, there has never been a 4-way matchup? Okay, that sums it up perfectly. What's wrong with WWE's 205 division? Let's see. The fact that they could treat this match seriously, with the fact that there's a huge historical significance for the title that's been around for over 20 years, and that's saying something, whereas WWE does not give two shits. But moving on from that, here's the thing. This is basically Japan's version of a cruiserweight division, except whereas in WWE and even in WCW, they always lock people in the cruiserweight division. I could say Rey Mysterio was a huge exception because it's Rey Mysterio. But yeah, like the original cruiserweight division of WWE, they were allowed to branch out. They were allowed to say, "Oh, I can come back for the cruiserweight title, but I get to go up to the big boys table now." Like, it was basically free for everybody. Like, if you were small enough, you can go to the cruiserweight division, but you could also go to the world title division or the main secondary mid card division. So, yeah, the fact that Kota Ibushi was in the Cruiserweight Classic indicates that he's less than 205 pounds, and yet he's not in a quote cruiserweight match. And he was given 15 minutes and 8 seconds to deliver an awesome match with Cody. That's saying something. Yeah, so... And the only time that a cruiserweight wrestler in the new WWE 205 division was allowed to, quote, branch out, it was when they were not actually in the 205 division, which is Kalisto, until they finally got put in. And Enzo Amore, except that was mostly to get horribly beaten down because Vince has a hatred for him because of his personality problems. So, yeah. This should be seen as a big deal. So, this match was set up through a series of title challenges in the second half of 2017. After Kushida had successfully defended the title against El Desperado, I'm pretty sure I pronounced that wrong, but let's go ahead and move on. On September 16th at the destruction in Hiroshima. Yeah, that does not sound the least bit uncomfortable. Moving on! He was confronted by Takahashi, who was ready to challenge him to a title match. However, before Takahashi could complete his challenge, he was knocked out by Will Ospreay, who took the title match for himself and went on to defeat Kushida to become new champion on October 9th at King of Pro Wrestling. Following the match, Takahashi again came out to issue a title challenge, but was again interrupted, this time by Marty Scurll, who is part of Bullet Club, who snapped his fingers because that's his style, like the UK division in WWE, except Vince does have no control over it, and made his own challenge to Will Ospreay. This led to a match on November 5th at Power Struggle, where Marty Scurll defeated Will Ospreay to become the new champion. Following the match, Scurll and Ospreay continued arguing while Kushida came out to challenge Scurll to a title match at Wrestle Kingdom 12. Finally, Takahashi also came out, this time wearing a helmet and gloves to prevent the other challengers from knocking him out or breaking his fingers, and made his own title challenge. Okay, that was actually pretty funny, and honestly, I could picture the New Day doing something like that. Scurll then declared that he would take on all three challengers. Wait! You mean to tell me there has never... You mean to tell me the heel says, you know what? I'll fight you all on. And I'm like, wait, the heel said he'll fight all three of them, even though you could just choose two or let them fight each other? Okay, yep, we got a heel. We got an actual heel that's willing to be a badass, everybody. We got a heel that's willing to be a badass. So, yeah, The IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship had previously been defended in a three-way match with Prince Devitt, aka Finn Balor, defending the title against Kota Ibushi and Low Ki at Wrestle Kingdom 7 in the Tokyo Dome. But this marked the first ever four-way for the title, which I said really sums up the problem with Vince's 205 division. So, yeah, that's why I wanted to add this match, because it has a huge significance. And right out of the gate, they go for crazy over the top. Mostly at the beginning, because they have very, very, very insane entrances. One goes ahead with Back to the Future inspired gear, Kasuda. Hiromi went all Rey Mysterio, basically. And Will has purple gear and purple dyed hair. Oh, and Marty Scurll goes ahead and basically looks like a plague doctor. That's actually his gimmick, but he has wings now. Yeah. So yeah, he's grown wings. So anyways, Scurll, being the classic heel that he is, gets outside the ring to watch from the floor as Ospreay and Kasuda rekindle their past encounters. Continuity! No! Vince's worst enemy. But sure enough, Marty's on hand to run in and break up the pins. Well, it's yeah, so yeah, that lasted very quick. Hiromi tried to steal it, tried to get a roll up on his own, but of course everyone's breaking up covers, because here's the thing. This match went crazy in so many high flying maneuvers. Will Ospreay practically dominating a lot of the matchup and beating the crap out of everybody, then doing more jumps and flips, and commentators calling him Spider-Man again, because apparently he was being called Spider-Man a lot. And oh boy, this match was also awesome. Like I said, these are, to me, the top matches of Wrestle Kingdom 12 from what I've heard, so I wanted to take a look at them, and I could see why. So, yeah, and of course, Marty Scurll breaks someone's fingers. Yep, knew that was coming. And then oh man, I'm trying to respond right. Then the tie quickly changes for him when Will Ospreay, and I'm trying to remember the other guy, Kasuda, I think, break Marty Scurll's fingers on both hands, and he goes ahead and basically tries to tape up his arms, and then tries to tape another guy attached to the rail, which was honestly creative. And proceeds to try to beat the crap out of everybody, and then basically goes all, I have had enough of this! Goes out after the referee gets knocked down, grabs his umbrella, since he uses an umbrella, and starts wailing on everybody in his path. And I could hear the cracks in people's skulls, probably, so I might be a morbid bastard on that. But, yeah, Hiromi and Kasuda get hit by it, but Ospreay ducks under another shot and hits a standing Spanish fly, and basically does the Os cutter, and yeah, apparently, and it's basically, yeah, it's the RKO, except he does a more high-flying maneuver of it. And apparently, also during the matchup, Will Ospreay and Marty Scurll actually teamed up together to take out both guys, which was a little surprising, because from what I've heard, they were having a huge feud with them. He and Marty Scurll have hatred for each other, so they're teaming up now. So yeah, and sure enough, yeah, Will Ospreay defeats Marty Scurll, ending this moment where he finally defeats him. Yeah, from what I was hearing from the commentary, apparently this feud has been a very long one in terms of Marty Scurll and Will Ospreay. I think it's either the title or him personally, where he could never defeat Marty Scurll. Marty Scurll always got the upper hand over him, and it took not one, but I think they said 2 years. 2 years. They had a storyline for 2 years where Will could never have beaten him. Oh boy. You mean to tell me they has 2-year storyline? Well, that's not really the end of multi-year storylines. I'll get to that in a little bit. But yeah, I was like thinking like, wait, you know, there were several storylines they could have done in WWE, like Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, Cesaro and Sami Zayn. But they just squashed it because fuck any potential lucrative dealings you can make from a long-term storyline. And just milk it for all it's worth and then just air it on free television because fuck potential. Yeah. So, yeah. Also, there was a funny moment, Marty Scurll. Okay. There's a lot of super kicks. A lot. But the Marty Scurll took the cake and basically threw it out of the house when he yells out, "Super kick!" Like, are you acting like that's a power move? Dude, everybody in that match does the super kick. Heck, everybody in the wrestling business uses the super kick like it's like a dime a dozen. Like, everyone, like, virtually nearly everyone in WWE does the super kick, and that's not including the 205 Live division. Like, let's see, the Usos, Dolph Ziggler, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, Aleister Black, Velveteen Dream. Yeah, yeah, virtually that, and those are just the WWE guys. We got the Young Bucks as well. Like, if Shawn Michaels ever was to return to wrestling and he was trying to do the Sweet Chin music, I don't think it would have the same effect with people because everyone uses it now. But I did love Marty Scurll screaming out "super kick!" Like, wait, but that's not a special move. It's been done everywhere now. Like, even WWE's adopted it for some reason. And in fact, I wouldn't be surprised if Vince actually thought that's why the independent scene is more popular, because, oh, they do super kicks a lot, so we gotta do super kicks. Which, honestly, would not really surprise me. Like, this company is run by a monkey, pretty much. So, yeah, that should say something regarding that. So, yeah, that match was pretty awesome. Really had a huge historical significance, specifically Will Ospreay finally defeating Marty Scurll, winning the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship, and telling Vince, saying, yeah, this is how we do it as cruiserweights. You and your diet guys who are forced to basically be restricted, yeah, Vince, you can go F yourself on that. So, yeah, and I'm pretty sure they've been practically doing it every single time for over 20 years. So, yeah. Now let's get to Hiroshi Tanahashi versus Jay White for the IWGP Intercontinental Championship. Okay, so here's the thing. Out of everyone throughout New Japan Pro Wrestling, there was always one name I kept hearing. Hiroshi Tanahashi. That's the one guy I kept hearing a lot about throughout the years, even before I became more of a die-hard wrestling fan and not just a WWE fan. Like, that's the one guy I kept hearing from a lot of people, like Hiroshi Tanahashi. They're gonna get a Hiroshi Tanahashi. We want him there. We want him in WWE. We want him everywhere, basically. Yeah, I kept hearing that a lot. And sure enough, I kept hearing that he was considered one of the best. So, yeah, anyways, Hiroshi Tanahashi would defend his title against Jay White, who had joined New Japan Pro Wrestling in January 2015 and worked for the promotion as a young lion until 2016 of June, when he left for an indefinite learning excursion into the United States, where he worked for Ring of Honor during the 2017 G1 Climax. New Japan Pro Wrestling started airing vignettes for an individual dubbed Switchblade, who was announced as making his debut on November 5th at Power Struggle. Following the main event of that show, where Tanahashi successfully defended the IWGP Intercontinental Championship, which was also considered the number 2 title, or the definitive title, even though there's a, quote, World Championship there, against Kota Ibushi, Switchblade was revealed as the returning Jay White, who confronted Tanahashi and challenged him to a title match at Wrestle Kingdom 12, before laying him out with a shell shock. The following day, New Japan Pro Wrestling officially announced the match between Tanahashi and White for Wrestle Kingdom 12. Then something would happen. Tanahashi was sidelined with a knee injury when an MRI discovered arthritis and I don't think it was arthritis. I don't think I could pronounce it right. So, and also water in his knee. However, as he has had a long history, Tanahashi has apparently had a long history of working hurt and not missing major shows. It was noted that the injury would have to be unbearably bad for him to miss Wrestle Kingdom 12. Tanahashi appeared at New Japan Pro Wrestling's December 18th show, assuring that he would be defending his title at Wrestle Kingdom 12, before being attacked by White, who targeted his injured knee. So apparently the tradition of, let's go ahead and beat the holy crap out of people's injured areas and aggravate even more is not just in Vince's world of fetishes. Now apparently this is a popular thing. And this is not fake, this is actually legitimately real, so they're aggravating it further. So, yeah, Jay White would technically make his debut make his first match debut apparently for the IWGP Intercontinental Championship. Reason why they just don't call it the New Japan Pro Wrestling title, whatever, is because apparently IWGP is the governing body of New Japan Pro Wrestling, which I learned about a year ago when I was studying up more about Japan's wrestling style, because I was starting to get into wanting to see Kenny Omega's trilogy with Okada, but the timing sadly was not right for me yet. I needed to learn more about the Japanese style in order for me to get like a full comprehensive video about this, so I can actually discuss this and treat it with the proper respect it should deserve, and sure enough it should. So Switchblade, as his gimmick is called, which honestly was pretty awesome, White actually is able to hang with Hiroshi Tanahashi, and I was actually pretty surprised by that. Like, from what I've heard, like, Jay White, I looked up how long Jay White's actually been working. I'm trying to exactly remember the date. He started working as a wrestler since 2013. He's been in this company. He's been wrestling for only 4 years, and he is essentially kicking ass with Hiroshi Tanahashi, who I must stress has been wrestling since 1999. Yeah. So, yeah, that's pretty impressive. Really, really freaking impressive. That should say something. But, Tanahashi, I had a feeling I knew where this was somewhat going. Like, part of me had a feeling like, are they going to do an underdog storyline where Hiroshi Tanahashi, despite having a legitimate injury with his knee, is going to also somehow win in the end? Sadly, that's the case. Yeah, I get he's very dedicated, and I know this isn't WWE, but yeah. Yeah, I get he's really dedicated to his job and being loyal to a company that has helped him earn so much for his legacy and for his job and for security reasons and all that. I get that, and he's always like I said, always dedicated to the business. But yeah, I'm just not gonna say any more on that. So yeah, Hiroshi Tanahashi and Jay White actually had a pretty awesome match. But, like I said, the knee injury, while it did really be used well in terms of adding tension to the story, I did feel like it kind of might hinder him, because all the stories I hear about Hiroshi Tanahashi, where Dave Meltzer said this, you can make a strong case for him as the best in-ring performer in the business today, adding that he was the leading star in New Japan Pro Wrestling's comeback from being in a terrible shape for a few years back to being the #2 pro wrestling company in the world. It should be #1, but that's a different matter. And yeah, when Dave Meltzer wrote that in 2013, let's see, Hiroshi Tanahashi is 41, so let's cut 4 years. He was at best 37. Still going strong, apparently. So yeah, Hiroshi Tanahashi really managed to do well despite the issues. Like, it wasn't the level I was hoping it would be from all the stories I heard, but I wasn't going to be saying I'm overly disappointed saying, they killed my childhood. This is my first experience watching a New Japan show wrestling match. So, I was willing to, like, not buy into complete hype. Like, maybe there are certain things that might stop it, like the injury he's having. But what they got was pretty awesome. Especially Jay White earning something in defeat. Like, yeah, here's the thing. Even when the people who lose the match, it doesn't feel like they lost something. It feels like they actually got something out of it even after losing. It reminds me of Aleister Black in Velveteen Dream, where Velveteen Dream was so obsessed to get Aleister Black to acknowledge him, he finally got to acknowledge him after an awesome match at War Games. Man, that was a still pretty awesome moment. But Hiroshi Tanahashi ultimately retains the IWGP Intercontinental Championship, and yeah, there was a lot of moments where Jay White kept targeting the knee where he was injured at, and apparently he also had some arm injury and it was heavily taped up. So yeah, and yeah, like I said, this was honestly a pretty awesome match. Would it have been good if Jay White won? I really don't know. Like, it would have been a pretty awesome way to make his debut in New Japan Pro Wrestling in the ring in this new character model. I mean, in this new character persona. It would have been pretty awesome. But, yeah. Yeah. But, would have been, like, he's still new into this game, and he's already facing some of the best talent in the world. At least he had a better match than, say, Goldberg versus William Regal. Yeah. Yeah, I know I keep making that comparison, but I just can't. I can't help myself when I have to make that comparison. Because if I don't say that, I feel like parents are going to go ahead and say, oh, you need Roman Reigns in virtually every match he's in. Or John Cena in virtually every match he's in, even though they have been delivering awesome matches. In the WWE world, at least, it's really hard to compete which one's the supreme match of the year thing in the whole world. So, yeah, but considering how this was just after the Fatal 4-Way match, yeah, I had a feeling this would fall flat a little bit in comparison. But, yeah, the fact that Jay White actually would have made a huge surprise and beat Hiroshi Tanahashi for the title, that would have been honestly surprising for me. I don't know what would happen afterwards, but ultimately, yeah, it was an alright match. And a perfect, actually probably awesome way to have his debut be on such a big stage, and the gimmick of Switchblade looks interesting. So, now let's get to Kazuchika Okada versus Tetsu Nato. I'm pretty sure I pronounced his last name wrong, sorry about that. Now, some people might say, but wait, they were the last match to go on. Why are you not talking about the other match and save this match for last? Well, that's the only reason why I got interested in watching the show, was because of the last match I'll be talking about. Though, compared to Kazuchika Okada versus Tetsu Nato for the IWGP Championship, I understand why he was given the main event spot. And the storyline actually is pretty awesome. Wrestle Kingdom 12 was main evented by Kazuchika Okada and defending the IWGP Championship against Tetsu Naito. The storyline behind the match actually dates back to 2013. 4 years. Where Naito won the G1 Climax tournament, which, when I look at it, I'm thinking, oh, is that like the Money in the Bank contract, except it's done in a tournament and not through a huge ladder match filled with dangerous spots? Okay. And then I looked up, apparently every single person who's won that contract, or as they call it, the certificate, every one of them has lost. Huh. So yeah, moving on. He had earned the right to fight Okada for the title at Wrestle Kingdom 8 on January 4th, 2014. However, at the time, Naito, despite being a clean-cut babyface, was heavily hated by the New Japan Pro Wrestling fans. Yeah, doesn't this sound a little familiar? Let's see, immense hatred from the fans despite being the good guy here, and he's being built up so quickly. This is Roman Reigns' story would-be dream storyline. Yeah, virtually a lot of this sounds like something that someone should tell Vince to do. But that would never happen because Vince is a stubborn idiot. But here's the thing. Whereas in WWE, they would only change course unless it was involving Daniel Bryan, or have a convenient way to turn the story but yet still keep the match, would be with the Seth Rollins Money in the Bank cash-in, or they'll just stay the course and just push him and just do the match as the main event. However, the company did this. They wanted to change their course of action with this, announcing a fan vote to determine whether the match between Okada versus Naito or the IWGP Intercontinental Championship between Shinsuke Nakamura and Hiroshi Tanahashi would main event the pay-per-view. Nakamura and Tanahashi won the vote, resulting in Okada and Naito losing their main event spot. Okada went on to defeat Naito for that match to retain the title. Then, approximately a year later, Naito traveled to Mexico to work for CMLL promotion. I am not pronouncing the actual name, or the stable he joined up when he went heel. Yeah. So, upon his return for New Japan Pro Wrestling, Naito, using the New Japan Pro Wrestling fans' rejection of him as a catalyst, completely reinvented his character, eventually leading him to form a similar group like the one in Mexico, but Japan-based. And despite now being the villain, fans eventually started getting behind him with his group, merchandise becoming New Japan Pro Wrestling's top seller. When Naito defeated Okada at Invasion Attack 2016 on April 10th to win the title for the first time, he had the crowd really behind him. He eventually went on to lose the title back to Okada in June 19th of that same year, Dominion 619 in I'm not even going to pronounce that's the arena's name. And then I was thinking, like, wait, this is everything that Vince should be doing with Reigns, except, yeah, really think about it. This guy, they were pushing him to be a top guy as a face. No one the fans didn't like it, and that's surprising a little bit since these are hardcore fans, and usually you would suspect that they would be more behind a New Japan guy instead of a WWE guy, but that's a different matter. Unless the guy is from New Japan or has been in New Japan, like Styles. But yeah, he reinvented his character after coming back, and I was like, huh. So, yeah, on August 13, 2017, Naito defeated Kenny Omega in the finals to win the 2017 G1 Climax, with Naito now being fully embraced by the fans. This was seen as the conclusion of a 4-year arc that started at 2013 G1 Climax, where he was rejected by the same fans. Yep. This is everything they should have done with Reigns, except in the WWE style environment. This is everything they should have done with Reigns, but like I said in the Roman Reigns video, it's now too late. Way to frickin' go. Japan beat you first, Vince. Japan beat you first in this idea. You could have had Reigns to the dark side, or take a hiatus, come back to reinventing yourself, and do this. Nope, we can't do that. It's too late now. And I already got depressed talking about it, so I'm not going to talk about it anymore. So, following that win, he would gain possession of the Tokyo Dome IWGP Heavyweight Championship Challenge Rights Certificate. Yeah, I say that multiple times in a row. Which granted him a shot to the IWGP Heavyweight Championship at Wrestle Kingdom 12. On October 9th at Kings of Pro Wrestling, he has successfully defended the certificate against Tomoharu Ishii. I'm sorry. While Kazuchika Okada successfully defended the IWGP Heavyweight Championship against Evil, setting up the main event of Wrestle Kingdom 12 between the champion Okada and the challenger Naito, which comes full circle. The match was officially announced in a press conference the following day. As part of the build-up to the title match, Okada introduced a new submission hold, a Cobra Clutch, as a counter to Naito's finishing maneuver, Destino. However, on December 18th, in their final confrontation before Wrestle Kingdom 12, Naito managed to counter himself out of the hold and hit Okada with the Destino, leaving him laid out. Okada has held the IWGP Heavyweight Championship ever since defeating Naito at Dominion 619, and having successfully defended the title 8 times and enters the match as the longest reigning champion in the title's history. Then this match will mark Okada's 4th consecutive and overall 5th Wrestle Kingdom main event. While Naito had never main evented the show before. He was originally supposed to, but like I said, they changed that plan when he was heavily rejected. So, yeah, this whole feud and this story has actually come full circle. So, yeah, I was thinking Okada has basically done everything. He could drop the title. I would have been alright with that. When I learned about his story, I was like, yeah, I want Naito to win. Like, everything about this guy. 4 years, was screwed, was basically voted out of the Wrestle Kingdom main event match, now gets put back in it. Yeah, he should end the show on a high note for him. He should be the one who wins. But we will see. So yeah, this match was really, really hyped up for a lot of fans who've been seeing this back to back for 4 years. But yeah. And Naito was not in any rush to get underway and kept, he kept taking his sweet time taking off his clothing to prepare himself in his ring gear, which is honestly funny. But when he did get going, he avoided a back senton from Okada before rolling into a tranquilo pose to try and get under the champion's skin. Sadly, it didn't work because Okada has remained undeterred and dropkicked Naito off the top rope to the floor as we received our obligatory guardrail spots, because that's apparently very popular in Japan, at least. I'm pretty sure it's popular everywhere except in WWE because they don't do guardrails anymore. But moving on, this match was pretty awesome. Really freaking awesome. Kazuchika Okada, Naito, they had an awesome match. I would have loved if Naito actually won the match. Like, this has come up full circle. He was at once upon a time being pushed as the next top guy, at least from what I've gathered, in New Japan Pro Wrestling. Fans rejected him. It took him 4 years to finally get the storyline right and to get the fans fully behind him. And I'm like, okay, let's see. I'm trying to know. I've been trying to look up something regarding Kazuchika Okada. Like, has he ever turned heel? Yeah, I was wondering, has Kazuchika Okada ever turned heel? I was wondering that because, yeah, I kept wondering, did he ever turn heel in his career? Because honestly, if he was to turn heel against Tetsu Nato and do a double turn, that actually would have been pretty awesome. Like, I know some people might say I'm going with the WWE mentality. I just can't help myself. I'm trying to be as respectable as possible, but like I said, even when the wrestler loses, it doesn't feel like they lost. It feels like they gained something in defeat, unlike in WWE. Also, Kazuchika Okada kept having this guy named Jito, I think. I think that's his name pronounced right. I was wondering, the way he looks, I couldn't really imagine him being a manager for Kazuchika Okada. Like, yeah, he looks invested. He is invested. He's actually been managing this guy for a while now in terms of shows. But, yeah, the way he dresses is just so... Like, compared to what Kazuchika Okada dresses up in when he gets to the ring, and compared to Jito, I'm like... That just seems weird. Like, really kind of weird. So... This match was pretty awesome. There were some false finishes, a lot of tombstone pile drivers. It makes me miss The Undertaker. And it was pretty freaking crazy. But, unfortunately, even though the match was awesome, like I said, Kazuchika Okada got the victory. Yeah. Yeah, like I said, pretty awesome match. And Kazuchika Okada, after the match, gave this awesome speech regarding New Japan Pro Wrestling, how he's promising to make this year even bigger, and even respected Nato despite the loss. Like, and actually endorsed him. I was like, perfect way to end the show right there. That would be a perfect way to end the show, and they did. Like, normally when the promo like this happens in the WWE, you would usually think, so unless it's Cena, they're going to do something else, they're just going to make him do a speech. But if this were any other character, they would either do a sneak attack from a heel, or make the guy turn heel and lash out on the crowd. That's usually the style WWE operates with. No, Kazuchika Okada instead makes a passionate speech about how wrestling is going to get bigger and bigger and how he's going to make it rain money and rain a lot of other great moments. So, yeah, I'm alright with that. That was the awesome way to end the show. Also to signify sort of a new year for New Japan Pro Wrestling, since, yeah, the show really starts virtually in the beginning week of January. So, yeah, I'm alright with it. So I was like, okay, let's go ahead. I was always debating which match I should talk about last. Was Kazuchika Okada versus Nato, or Kenny Omega versus Chris Jericho? I would have given Kazuchika Okada and Nato the last laugh in this video, the last sentence statement in this video, especially how I felt like it might have been a perfect ending. But I really wanted to talk about this particular match last, because this is the match that got me more interested in actually fully watching some of the show and all these matches. And that match is, which I've talked about in October when it was first announced, Kenny Omega versus Chris Jericho for the IWGP US Heavyweight Championship. Yep. On November 5th, at Power Struggle, Chris Jericho made a surprise return to New Japan Pro Wrestling, which was said to be his first time appearing in over 20 years, in nearly 2 decades. or over 2 decades, where he challenged Kenny Omega to a match at Wrestle Kingdom 12 in Tokyo Dome. After Omega had defeated his opponent and was making an open challenge to anyone who would come out. This challenge was quickly accepted by Omega, who had actually been engaged into a Twitter feud with Chris Jericho over the past few weeks, which led to speculation either they're just fooling around like Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt did before Matt Hardy actually joined the WWE, and this was still before the Woken gimmick was born, because they were still fighting over the Broken gimmick between Matt Hardy and TNA. So no, instead, we actually get the match. This Twitter feud actually goes somewhere. So, yeah. The match would be contested for the IWGP US Heavyweight Championship, being officially announced the following day. Due to the high-profile status of this match, especially since it's getting more attention since it's Chris frickin' Jericho, Omega began petitioning for Wrestle Kingdom 12 to have a, quote, double main event, much like Wrestle Kingdom shows have had in 2013, 14, and 15. Omega stated that he agreed that Okada and Naito should have the final match of the show, but felt that he and Jericho should have the second-to-last match, claiming that just 4 months after the creation of the IWGP US Heavyweight Championship, he had already made it the number 2 title in Japan over the IWGP Intercontinental Championship. Which, okay, he's also being honorable and also being egotistical, so yeah, that could fit his character. Jericho made his in-person return at the December 11th show, attacking and bloodying Omega following his match, while also laying out the referee, a young lion, and Don Callis, commentator. Then the following day, and I saw the video of it, at a press conference, Omega just has this silent moment, which I was like, considering from what I have seen of Kenny Omega, he doesn't seem like the very silent type. He's more like the eccentric type. And then, okay, here's the best way to describe this whole build-up. Chris Jericho said it best. He would never be allowed to do these things in WWE. And everything he did in all this build-up, like saying bitch a lot. Kenny Omega saying he's gonna beat the shit out of Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho flipping the people off. Okay, yeah. And all this. And Kenny Omega even took shots at Jericho saying, you have never, ever defeated... You've never been in a match that was 6 stars. Referencing Dave Meltzer's rating. And claiming he's never even been in a 5-star match. And I was like, ooh, okay, that's deep, I bet. But, yeah. Jericho then attacked him at the conference. Yeah. And then Jericho was at the... No, Jericho didn't attack him at the conference. Omega attacked Jericho at the conference after a incident where Jericho was basically saying he's going to destroy Omega. And that ended with Chris Jericho throwing a table at him and and security trying to pull him away from Jericho. So... yeah, and New Japan Pro Wrestling officially announced that Wrestle Kingdom 12 would feature a, quote, double main event with the IWGP and US Heavyweight Championship matches. Naito has stated that he was disappointed with the decision, adding that New Japan Pro Wrestling would never become the #1 promotion in the world as long as they were humoring WWE. Yeah. On December 18th, New Japan Pro Wrestling announced that as a result of both Omega and Jericho demanding it, the match had been turned into a no disqualifications match. Okay, yep, called it. Okay, everyone, we called it. We got a match of the year quality matchup. I'm like, it's Chris Jericho, so that should also help out. So Chris Jericho... he doesn't use his theme song. He has the jacket, but he doesn't use his theme song because that's a WWE ownership. But there is something he does own. He owns his songs from Fozzy. And he plays the song Judas. Yeah. So, yeah. And Chris Jericho, this is his first time in New Japan Wrestling in 19 years, it was said, so that's nearly 2 decades. And everyone was hyped up for this. And some people were like, "It's like, why isn't that with Fozzy? That would have actually been awesome." And Kenny Omega, to try and top last year's Terminator theme, he comes out with this wacky helmet and cape and a gun. And of course, the Young Bucks, being his lackeys, come out and decide to be assistants. So, yeah. So everyone was like, expect shenanigans, everybody. Expect shenanigans! Expect shenanigans! I hear shenanigans coming! And before Jericho and Omega actually could ring the bell for the match, Jericho jumped Omega as he was hugging the Young Bucks. And this quickly becomes a pull apart as the Young Lions stop it for some reason. And then Jericho orders that the Young Bucks get out of the ring, or at least leave. And here's the shocking thing. The Young Bucks didn't attack Jericho. They were actually pushing him, trying to like push him away from Omega. They didn't beat the living crap out of him. It's like they almost forgot they were wrestlers for that moment. Okay, that's understandable, but still. So yeah, this was pretty hilarious. And surprisingly, after this, the Young Bucks are never seen again. They are never seen again. Yeah. So then we get to the bell rings, and they're immediately starting to beat the crap out of each other. And Jericho, still having a little bit of his WWE influence, uses the ref so he can sneak in an eye rake in a no DQ match. But, yeah. So, because of this no DQ match, yeah, Jericho quickly manages to get Omega into the walls of Jericho, but he clings on despite Omega reaching for the ropes because it's a no DQ match. Omega frees himself as he throws Jericho out for a baseball slide, but it's caught before a second baseball slide sends Jericho into the commentary table for the traditional flying body press that slammed Kenny, crashed, and burned through the table. We gotta do that. So, yeah, Jericho then capitalizes on another walls of Jericho to lay out Omega, but then the referee tries to stop him, but then Jericho just gets pissed off and just pushes him and shoves him and beats him to the side, and then attacks his son before putting him in the walls of Jericho as well. But here's the thing I noticed when Jericho did that. When Jericho did that Walls of Jericho move, it wasn't the same way that he was doing it to Kenny Omega. He was doing it to the guys who were much more smaller. Like he used to do a lot when he was still a cruiserweight guy in WCW and a little bit in WWE. So, yeah, Chris Jericho managed to go ahead and bring back that thing. Like, I think the last time I saw it is when he was wrestling Kofi Kingston at Night of Champions, when he was feuding with Shawn Michaels after, you know, that vicious angle where he smashed Michaels through the Jeritron in 2008. Yeah, that was a pretty dark day. So, yeah. Jericho goes ahead and beats the crap out of those two, and then Kenny Omega surprisingly makes the save and finally gets some retribution as he throws a monitor into Jericho as the English language feed died with their equipment before the pair fought around the Japanese commentary area. Yeah, yeah. It's kind of funny that they go ahead and destroy the English commentary table, whereas in WWE they destroy mostly the foreign table of the Spanish. Yeah, I get a feeling there's a message being sent there. In fact, here's the thing I was honestly expecting from Jericho. Like, I was expecting Jericho to scream out WWE is better. Like, they keep mentioning WWE. And here's the kicker regarding that. Jericho is the third guy to headline Wrestle Kingdom who had also headlined WrestleMania. The first was Ric Flair. The second was Brock Lesnar. You know, when Lesnar actually gave a damn about wrestling long matches and back and forth styles. Yeah. And sure enough, here's the thing that also confused me. Despite it being a no DQ match, they still put in the 20 count system, because in Japan's wrestling system is a 20 count thing. But I was like, wait, why is there a count out? Why is there a potential count out thing? This is an no DQ match. How does that work? Yeah, I was confused by that. So, yeah, Jericho, I must stress, he's 47. And yet, he's able to work in, and I'm not kidding, a 34-minute matchup with Kenny Omega. So, yeah, it was pretty awesome. This match was really freaking awesome. So, Kenny Omega ultimately would defeat Chris Jericho, and basically, after being horribly bloodied and Jericho having blood coming out of his mouth. So yeah, basically summing up why WWE would never approve of this in terms of actually doing it on their show. And Jericho uses the code breaker. Honestly, I think that's his best version of the code breaker in Japan, because because Omega just sells it so well, whereas the guys just initially fall, like get their head collide with the knee, and they go ahead and just fall. When Kenny Omega got the code breaker, he mostly bounced to the other side of the ring like The Rock when Stone Cold Steve Austin gave him the stunner every time. Yeah. Yeah, so this match, like I said, was awesome, and also chairs were being broken. So, yeah, and ultimately, Kenny Omega will retain the United States Heavyweight Championship in part for their eventual debut for a USA show, which will hopefully be awesome. Oh, who am I kidding? It is awesome. Chris Jericho, everyone assumed that this was a one-and-done deal, but it's revealed the next night at New Year Dash 2018, Jericho hinted who his next target is. Tetsuya Naito. Yep, he's in this now. Jericho's after him now. So does that mean we're going to get a double turn? We're going to get, like, Jericho turned heel already. It was established that. But is Tetsuya Naito going to turn face, or was he already a face when Wrestle Kingdom happened? So, yeah, this match was really freaking awesome. Yeah, from what I've heard, the whole show is pretty awesome. Like, even the kickoff, even though some people call it somewhat of a dud, it at least had some memorable, it at least had some good ideas, and actually was given time. And like I said, I might go over some of the other matches one day, but I really wanted to talk about these 5 matches mostly. But, yeah, Kenny Omega and Chris Jericho, I really gotta thank them for making me have the opportunity to finally see a show like this. And I am now at 1 hour and 13 minutes. And this show, and I only watched the 3-hour cut version. Imagine if the last 2 hours were put in. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this video would have been a little over 2 hours long, since I would have to also talk about all these other matches. But, yeah, the reason why I wanted so much to talk about Chris Jericho and Kenny Omega was because they're the guys that got me interested in watching New Japan Pro Wrestling's Wrestle Kingdom's edited show of 3 hours. Like, they kept it in the full matches, they just added in some video promos to show the build-ups to them. And plus, the matches were really long. Like, okay, like, let's see. The shortest match of every matchup was Evil and Sanda fighting Killer Elite Squad of Davey Boy Smith Jr. and Lance Archer for the IWGP Tag Team Championship, which was only 14 minutes and 14 seconds. That was the shortest match. The longest match was Kazusa Okada versus Tetsuya Naito, which was 36 minutes and 30 seconds. Yeah, that should say something. Also, I was wondering, when the New Japan Rumble happened, I had heard there was a wrestler named Cheeseburger. Why is there a wrestler named Cheeseburger? Like, I heard he's had this for like, what, a couple of years now? And I'm learning this now? Why is he called Cheeseburger? Why? I'm really confused here. Like, that's a name I would think Vince would make up. So, yeah. Also, Jushin Thunder Liger was on the pre-show. Why? I was thinking, like, he would be either not on the show or doing something else, but okay. I think he said a few years back that he's reaching the tail end of his career and is hoping to retire in Japan. And he had only made one technical debut, which was at NXT TakeOver Brooklyn. Well, technically he was in WWE back when he was, WWF, where he showed up at Wrestling Summit in Tokyo Dome, an event co-produced with New Japan Pro Wrestling and All Japan Pro Wrestling. And that his first official debut as a Soul WWE show was in Brooklyn, the inaugural one, against Tyler Breeze. So, yeah, so that's it. These 5 matches, they were all awesome. I kept hearing, like I said, this was only 3 hours of the matches I got. The whole show was 5 hours, 6 if you count the pre-show. That should say something. So, yeah. So, considering what we got here, this says, like, I hear people call New Japan Pro Wrestling the WWE of the Land of the Rising Sun, or WWE of Japan. Now, I think that's actually kind of a big insult. WWE, specifically Triple H, wishes he could make the show New Japan produces, which he can do with NXT, but you know how Vince is. Except they're only given 2 hours of pay-per-views and an hour of wrestling shows, unless it's a special. Whereas Vince is able to produce 3 to 5 hours, and only for the Big 4, 7. And there's huge amounts of filler that aren't even the good kind of filler. So, yeah, I would really wish, when Triple H takes over, he actually contacts Japan and say, "Hey, let's do a little trade-in thing. Like, we bring in some guys from our guys from your place, and you bring some guys to our place. We can do a back-and-forth trading relationship here with the top guys here." So yeah, I would actually love that. And this comes off of the fact that Dr. Chris Muller of Bleacher Report had made an article detailing what would happen if a WWE versus New Japan Pro Wrestling 2-day mega show actually were to happen, which honestly would be pretty freaking awesome if they actually did that. So I say a man could dream on that. But yeah, the 5 matches, they were all pretty awesome. I like, with the exception of Kazuchika Okada and Tetsuya Naito, I was like, he really should have won the match. I was really rooting for Tetsuya Naito to win the match, especially when I learned about his storyline. His 4-year arc he needed to win the fans. This would have came full circle against the guy who beat him in what would have been his big main event match, which was voted out from him. So, yeah, I really would have loved if he had won the match. That's honestly the only nagging thing. But even then, I feel like the wrestlers all gained something in defeat. So, yeah. So, those are my thoughts on the portions of New Japan Pro Wrestling, Wrestle Kingdom 12 top matches. This was Neo Reality Entertainment. If you like, comment, subscribe, and donate, stay tuned for more. And I will again soon go back to being day one-ish. See ya.